Okay, and I really want to talk about this more deeply now, because Nick kind of trying to force everyone's hand into, well, we have to remove Joe Burrow, or, you know, we have to amend this automatic top four and make a top five, and it's Mahomes, Allen, and Lamar, and then maybe Joe Burrow, maybe not. His stats are great, but it doesn't really matter, and this is where we have to look beyond everything else right now. And that's why I wanted to do this and have a significantly deeper conversation specifically about Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, and Lamar Jackson. We're leaving every other quarterback out right now. We are just focusing on these four quarterbacks. So, what I did here is I wanted to map out what I think each quarterback does, great, what they're elite at, as well as then what each quarterback does better than the other quarterbacks. So, we'll map out what Josh Allen does great, Mahomes, Lamar, Joe Burrow, and then what does Joe Burrow do better than Patrick Mahomes? What does Joe Burrow do better than Josh Allen? Lamar, what does Josh Allen do better than Lamar? What does Josh Allen do better than Mahomes? Now, before we get into this too much, too deeply, I want everyone to take a deep breath, okay? Because we're going to say things like so and so is a better passer. He's better in the pocket. That does not mean that the other quarterback is somehow bad at it, that he can't do it, that he hasn't succeeded at it. It just means that one player is better than the other player at this specific skill set. It's not a value judgment. It's not a moral judgment. It's not a religious stance on anything. It's just football, okay? People love to have panic attacks when we have some of these conversations. I learned that I got a front row seat in that last season when people were having conversations about Lamar Jackson versus Joe Burrow or Josh Allen versus Lamar Jackson. And it's just like, just take a deep breath. It's all good. It's all good. So let's start with Josh Allen. Okay. I think he is the most complete player out there, the most complete, most versatile quarterback out there. Elite arm strength from any angle, devastating rushing power, obviously just a physical force, clutch performance in big games. There seems to be this idea that Josh Allen's not actually clutch, which is just comically, hilariously, statistically since 2020, Josh Allen is actually more clutch than Patrick Mahomes. Yet, everybody will tell you that Patrick Mahomes is the most clutch quarterback, and it's like it's not. It's Joe Burrow, Josh Allen, Lamar Jackson, Tom Brady, then Patrick Mahomes. That is what, since 2020, the statistics have shown for quarterback play. It's not an opinion. It's not a value judgment. It's not just because I think something and I believe it. It is just a statistical truth. So you do what you will with that, obviously. Exceptional durability, again, a monster. Complete skill set, no weaknesses. Then you have Patrick Mahomes, off schedule, magic and improvisation, multiple arm angles, no look passes, all the goofy stuff that he does. Great pocket manipulation, mastery. He's obviously brilliant in the pocket and out of the pocket. Obviously, championship experience and pedigree. He creates plays that shouldn't work. I should also add that he's able to execute the offense arguably better than any of these other four quarterbacks in terms of what Andy Reid asks him to do. He does it flawlessly, right? When Andy calls a play and says, "This is exactly what I want done," it's like Patrick Mahomes can really run that offense exactly in the eyes that Andy Reid sees fit, which for some reason triggers Mahomes fans. And I don't know why. Okay, now we got Lamar Jackson. Game breaking, rushing explosiveness. There's always that feeling when you're watching him play that in any given moment, the dude can just take off for 65 yards and run 100 miles per hour. Perfect read option execution, unmatched acceleration and agility. I mean, again, just watching him in space, watching him just, escape. It's just, it really is magical. He forces impossible defensive conflicts. He does this. We talk about this with Mahomes a lot because Mahomes is great at this too, where you get these defenses and it's something that Josh Allen needs to improve at, quite frankly. But where you get these defenses in this, you'll get like a specific defender kind of caught in no man's land, where it's like, I got to go after you, but then I also got to make sure you don't have someone wide open behind me and it's like, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? What am I going to do? And because of his acceleration and his speed, it can just be so devastating for Lamar. I think Patrick Mahomes makes those decisions a little bit more cleanly at times, but he relies more on the kind of like, am I going to go out of bounds? What am I going to do? Whereas Lamar Jackson can turn that moment into like a 45-yard run. So it's just different. And he is the most unique player in the NFL in terms of his skill set. Joe Burrow, superior pre-snap processing, an elite pocket passer and courage under pressure. He's got the best stats under pressure by a mile. Exceptional intermediate accuracy, natural leadership presence, cleanest fundamentals, and mechanics. Like when you look at a quarterback, what we think of a traditional quarterback, it's just like he does everything so perfectly. His levels of anticipation, the types of throws that he makes, and when he's actually throwing them, when he's releasing the ball, and the reads that he's making is absolutely a thing of beauty. And it's not always easy to see, honestly, when you're just casually watching a game. It's not always easy to see, which is why it's harder to really appreciate what Joe Burrow does, because you can see Lamar Jackson scramble for 10 seconds. You can see Josh Allen barrel through someone. You can see Patrick Mahomes make something out of nothing. And you don't always see the beauty in what a quarterback like Joe Burrow has to do. And it has nothing to do with, he's just a more statue pocket passer than not. Like you can be a playmaker from the pocket. That's just a fact. You can be a game changer from the pocket. That's just a fact. Now, this is where people are going to start to get a little uncomfortable. It's going to be okay because also remember that I did it for every quarterback. I did every single variation. So, every quarterback is better than another quarterback at something. It's going to be okay. I promise you guys, it's going to be okay. Allen versus Lamar, we're already in landmine number 1. Pure arm strength and downfield accuracy are significantly better. Yes, Josh Allen is a better passer than Lamar Jackson. Lamar Jackson's not a bad passer. Lamar Jackson should not be a wide receiver or a running back. Lamar Jackson is an all-time great quarterback. Josh Allen throws a better ball. He just does. He's also a more powerful runner, which both is better helps and hurts him at times. But he can literally just, again, he's a monster. He barrels through people in ways that are it's just kind of crazy. He's got a superior pocket presence. Steps up and delivers strikes where Lamar will more likely to scramble. Doesn't mean that Lamar Jackson's a one-read quarterback. Doesn't mean that Lamar Jackson can't stay in the pocket and make throws. Just means that it fits Josh Allen's strengths a little bit more. Allen versus Burrow mobility and improvisation gives escape routes. Burrow can extend broken plays and create magic in ways that you just don't really get a chance to see Burrow do. The rushing threat obviously is so much more devastating and something that Joe Burrow doesn't even really remotely have, quite frankly. Allen versus Mahomes. Oh, juicy. Superior physical tools. He's got a bigger arm, bigger frame, more powerful runner. His mobility, his athleticism that Josh Allen brings to the table is so much more devastating than what Patrick Mahomes at this moment. Again, that's just a fact. I mean, just look at their bodies. What Lamar Jackson does better. See, Lamar Jackson fans, we got this. Lamar versus Josh Allen, change of direction and acceleration on another level. He is genuinely elusive and open field. Perfect read option, execution, makes right decision every time where Josh Allen forces a run. This wasn't necessarily the perfect example of this because it was a called play where they kept trying to do their own brand of the tush push, but you could see Josh out because he's so strong that he can force some of these runs in a way because he's really the definition of a player who's just like, I can do anything. I'm bigger, stronger than all these guys. Like, nobody could stop me. Like, it's why he always tries to do some of these crazy things. Like, against the Baltimore Ravens, where there was a moment when he was gonna maybe pass the ball back to, I forget who was there, who would have caught it, and then he didn't. He's just like, He really is that type of guy. Whereas Lamar Jackson can be, I think, can be a little bit more calculated. Obviously, relies on his own speed, which can get him in trouble. He can take like a pretty big sack, but I think it's just a little bit different with Lamar versus Allen in that regard. Lamar versus Burrow, grain bacon, game breaking ability. Again, obviously Burrow has game breaking ability, but it's just his sheer athleticism is just it's just when someone like Lamar calls hike and let's say there's some time in the pocket, let's say you just get that extra second or two, there's a feeling that anything could happen right now, right? Right. When Lamar has the ball, you're just like anything can happen. He can let it rip for 45 yards down the field, or he can just now make a devastating run. Or if the O-line breaks and now it's just like three guys are breathing down his neck, you still feel like he can come away from this and find a way. You don't have that same level of confidence with a Joe Burrow. Um, of course. And also Lamar has better durability relative to Joe Burrow, but quite frankly, everyone does compared to Joe Burrow. Lamar versus Mahomes, oh, it's getting juicy. Rushing production exceptionally higher. Has Mahomes improvisation plus elite rushing. Doesn't rely on elite supporting cast like Mahomes has throughout career. Oh no. Oh no. What does that mean? What does that mean? Laura Jackson's had multiple OCs and, hasn't really had the same level of talent that Patrick Mahomes has had. And Patrick Mahomes' players and defenses all step up in moments of need. And Lamar Jackson's supporting cast has not, as I've highlighted with concrete examples, where you have literally Travis Kelce making like diving backwards catches, where you have Mark Andrews dropping balls that are just hitting him in the hands like 2 feet away from him. One of these is not like the other. What Joe Burrow does better. Burrow versus Allen. Decision M and ball security superior. Allen forces throws, leading to interceptions where Burrow is measured. Burrow is definitely the most measured out of all of them because he's more traditional in that sense. More advanced, snap reads identify as best option before snap. I mean, at the end of the day, and when we talk about like arms, and this is actually interesting, I'm going to make this into a separate video. I'm just not entirely sure how I want to have the conversation best. But J-Mac actually asked a pretty good question, and I think it was cool because he pretty much was like, how do we define when someone is a better thrower of the ball than someone else? Because we always hear a lot of people, and he was asking, I forget his name. I think he played for the Giants. He's been kind of on FS1 recently now, filled in a little bit on First Things First, and he was like, what do we mean when we say someone's a better thrower? We talking about completion percentage yards per attempt, and it's like those are stats, and it's different. That's why you got to talk about the film. It's like when it comes better out of someone's hand and whatnot, and their mechanics, and it's just like what it really comes down to is just like the types of throws that you're making, the level of anticipation when you're throwing the ball. I always try to think of like the dumbest and simplest way to explain something, and it's just like, Joe Burrow can make a better throw when a wide receiver is at at the 10-yard line with his head down. And Joe Burrow will have, better placement, better, throw the ball when the wide receivers know, right? Let's say he needs to get the ball at the 50 to make the throw. Again, I'm not purposely using like the simplest like non-football terms. So just to paint like the clearest basic of all pictures, which I've had a conversation with Travis O'Shea about doing, where it's like, so-and-so's at the 10-yard line, he has his head down, he's kind of having a whole conversation with whoever's covering him. Joe Burrow's ability to make that decision, make that throw, place the ball exactly where it needs to be at the 50 down, where the receiver is nowhere in sight, and it feels like, oh my God, when it's not, until you actually really look and see, oh my God, I can't believe he made the throw at that time and where it needed to be, and it was caught. Joe Burrow does that brilliantly. Burrow versus Mahomes, or no, Burrow versus Lamar, better accuracy and route timing, kind of essentially what I was saying in a way. sign significantly better in tight windows. I know it hurts people's feelings. Superior pocket management, that's just obvious. Steps up where Lamar scramblies. Obviously shouldn't be controversial. And more precise deep ball placement, again, should not be controversial, but people will somehow make it so. Cleaner fundamentals. Burrow versus Mahomes. Mechanics and footwork more consistent. Doesn't rely on circus throws. Proven ability to elevate mediocre receivers in college and early in the NFL. I know that's also going to make people feel so uncomfortable. Everybody likes to talk about Jamar Chase and T. Higgins, but they don't want to talk about when T. Higgins misses games and when it's just Jamar Chase and any of the other receivers that Joe Burrow has had to work with and elevate that were not Jamar Chase and Higgins. Everyone likes to pretend like Joe Burrow will throw for 4,000 yards, 5,000 yard, whatever it may be, and that apparently it's just Jamar Chase has 2,500 yards and T. Higgins has 2,500 yards, and it's like, yep, that's all Joe Burrow does. But like I've highlighted in previous videos, Joe Burrow doesn't rely on a lot of passes behind the line of scrimmage. He doesn't rely on a lot of screen passes, like a lot. Patrick Mahomes does. He doesn't rely on as much as yards after catch as Patrick Mahomes does. So that is what I mean in that regard. And it's okay. It's okay. And what Patrick Mahomes does better. I just left it blank because it doesn't do anything better. I'm just kidding. Patrick Mahomes versus Josh Allen. Off-platform accuracy unmatched. Makes throws from impossible arm angles more consistently. No-look passes as an element that Josh Allen doesn't have, which is not really a thing. That's more kind of tongue-in-cheek. And he has superior championship experience in pressure. I do believe that Josh Allen is more clutch recently, especially than Patrick Mahomes. But what I will say is if you even just look at the most recent 2024 game in the AFC Championship game, there was absolutely a calmness. Even though Patrick Mahomes fumbled and turned the ball over, there was absolutely more of a calmness and an experience that was undeniable that Patrick Mahomes had in that game that Josh Allen did not. Josh Allen very early in the game for some throws made some questionable throws. I also do blame coaching significantly in that regard as well, but at the same time, like Josh Allen does deserve some, does deserve an XU in that box in that moment. And I do believe that Mahomes and he's always going to have that advantage for the most part because he's so ahead of everyone in terms of that level of experience at this point. Any Super Bowl he plays, it's just another Super Bowl for him. Any of these guys, they're in the Super Bowl again. It's the biggest game of their career. It's not like that for Patrick Mahomes. Mahomes versus Lamar. Arm talent and passing creativity significantly better. Better def beats defenses with impossible throws versus just legs. Extends plays with arm rather than just legs. More options available. I'll say that Patrick Mahomes is a more of a playmaker within the pocket than Lamar Jackson is. And then Mahomes versus Burrow. I can't get it as much. I don't want to zoom this in, but improvisational ability when plays break down unmatched. Thrives in chaos where Burrow needs structure. Definitely true. Big play willingness creates more explosive offenses than methodical approach. Yes. Patrick Mahomes is so much more comfortable going off script and kind of, can't risk it for the biscuit, got to risk it for the biscuit. Whatever the heck the dumb saying is that Patrick Mahomes will definitely be steps above Joe Burrow in that regard. Yeah, I mean, I think this is pretty fair breakdown. I don't think this is everything. It's not perfect. Some of it is a little tongue-in-cheek, but I think it makes sense. I'm personally growing more tired of constantly trying to rate and rank these four quarterbacks and where they are and what they are, but trying to downplay what Joe Burrow does, trying to downplay what Lamar Jackson does, what Mahomes does. This automatic Patrick Mahomes is easily the best and he's superior to these other quarterbacks. I wholeheartedly disagree. Joe Burrow, because he's clearly been on the worst run teams out of all of these teams. And again, it's just like I feel as though what's kind of crazy, especially for Joe Burrow, like Kansas City Chiefs fans should understand how badly their team had been run prior to when Andy Reid came in, what, 2013? I think it was 2013 or 2014. They should understand that they were awful and that it wasn't until Andy Reid got there that they finally were able to build a team and get, make the playoffs and win the division for the first time, I think, in the entire existence of Kansas City Chiefs back-to-back years, right? Like they were actually able to be functional. The Buffalo Bills were such a disastrously franchise for years and years and years. Like those franchises especially should know. I could understand the Ravens kind of, taking, not taking advantage, but, taking, gosh, what's the word? I want to look for taking for granted that how good it is to have a team that's actually well run, that you've been able to build multiple teams, that you were able to win a Super Bowl before Lamar Jackson, and that you have a lot of stability. Even though I've criticized Harbaugh a lot over the years, like he's clearly knows how to run a team. He knows how to he knows how to set people up for success. Again, I I think he hasn't been as great as I would like him to be, and even called for them to potentially move on from him. But like he's not a disaster, it's not a mess, it's not a circus there, and it never has been. The Baltimore Ravens are an incredibly well-run team, which is why they're also, I think at this point, maybe top 3 or top 4. I think they're right below the Eagles in the most playoff wins in the last 25 years. It goes the Patriots because of Tom Brady and Bill Belichick, then the Philadelphia Eagles. And now I think it might be tied with the Chiefs and the Ravens. But before last year, the Ravens were actually second place. They leapfrogged the Philadelphia Eagles after their 2023 playoff run. So the Baltimore Ravens are incredibly run. The Cincinnati Bengals are an absolute joke of a franchise. So using team success, using playoff appearances and this or that, it's just so meaningless to me. I mean, it really, really is. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I thought this would be interesting, wanted to put it out there. We keep having these content conversations, and, I'm recording this video right now. I'm going to post it right now. And I already have a list of like more tiers. First Take did a tier with, I forget the guy, whoever it is. He did his own tiers, and I'm like, okay, fine. And then I just saw that the QB rankings from execs and coaches and GMs was just released, and I'm like, okay, I gotta, go after, discuss that. And I wanted to do this